degrees. Bit of humidity in the air though. There were some spots of rain on the way into the circuit this morning. It seems like the heavier showers have abated for now, but we will keep an eye on those grey clouds that are hovering over Le Castellet. Chris Stevens and George Morgan in the commentary box. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Chris. And I must say, absolutely spot on. The crowds are littered across the sky. It's no longer the pitch blue that we had yesterday. Vastly different conditions. Obviously, track temperature being affected as a consequence as well, sitting at 23.7 degrees air temperature, track temperature. Obviously, given the fact that it's very early in the morning, 29.8. But I'm sure that'll change quite quickly. And what a performance from Ivan Velasco and Luka Ludwig as well to notch together their third race win of the season and strengthening their hold on the championship lead for now. Obviously a lot of racing to be had before we reach Monza at the end of the campaign, but they're setting the benchmark for now. Federico Alrafai, Matteo Lovisi, I'm expecting them to retort here this afternoon.
Well, and they rather need to. It was a bit of a missed opportunity for them, wasn't it, yesterday, with Federico Alrafai clanging into the side of one of the Q1 track racing Porsches. In fact, there it was, number 11 car, whilst trying to come through the field, while Federico was, well, the fastest driver out there on track, and it's very likely they would have come away with the win had that not happened. But it did, and they ended up scoring 0 points yesterday. So they
for the first time as well.
Yes, exactly, for the first time. So they have got to make sure they get back on it as cars building away on the first lap out of the pits. So it's going to be a bit of a slow build here by the looks of it. There's the Mertel team arriving in pit lane. Mario Grumt there, the team principal on the left-hand side. And he's been running a very successful outfit that is here with 6 cars once again this weekend. The Ferrari 488 Challenge Evos with a combination of Pro-Am and Am lineups as well. Alex Ryman in the 47 EST1 racing at Porsche on the podium yesterday for the first time this season. That was quite a surprise to say that. Not to see him on the podium, but the fact that we haven't at this point this season.
But at the same time, he seems to like it around here. He won here last year, back in race 1. And then, of course, we had the Rosso Corsa team who went to take victory last season in race 2. So you never know, this could be their day as well alike. So I think we could see a few twists and turns. There's Laura van den Hengel as well. They had a very disappointing retirement yesterday after qualifying so strongly. P10.
Yes, so I'm told Laura had a gearbox issue on the first lap, which is why we saw her drop down. She was able to reset the car and get going again, but then after the pit stop, the fire extinguisher went off with Alba Vasquez in the car, and at that point you have to retire the car. You can't run with
safety purposes.
Yes, exactly. So it's Alba in the 83, the all-female lineup in that Ferrari, which is also supported by female mechanics and engineers as well. But yeah, we're just speaking about the Rosso Corsa car, actually. Still Nicola Schiro in the car. We were expecting to have Andrea Bellicci back after recovering from his back injury that he suffered at Hockenheim a couple of months ago now, back in early May that was. He was due to be back in, but is at home with kidney stones, unfortunately, at the moment. So still Schiro, who should be qualifying the car today, I believe. Just looking for the number 17. Yes, he is. He's in the car for this one, and it's Ivan Velasco, the reigning champion, aboard the number 80 as well, who will take that car out.
4th coveted podium of the campaign for Ivan Velasco and Luka Ludwig. And they'll be hoping to do the same again, though this time it's going to be a big challenge because they do have some handicaps to deal with when it comes down to race time later on this afternoon. But there's many others that we can keep our eyes peeled on. Of course, you can factor in the likes of Stinas Longin and Nicholas Salins, who are impressive as well. Unfortunately, just falling foul towards the bitter end. Of course, we had our AM winners, Leandro Martins and Dieter Schweppes, back again, finishing 6th overall. First times will be coming in very soon already. We've had the first few sectors lighting up. Out comes the 84 Stefano Bozzoni, who now makes his way out onto the track, representing Mertel Motorsport Ferrari, the strong army of cars that they have brought to the table here in the GT Cup Open. Great to have them here as well, as now Bozzoni takes to the circuit.
First lap time across the board, for what it's worth, 2:14.609. That won't be pole position, given that we were running in the 2:06s yesterday. But Mark Spiekervast, the first driver to put a time on the board in the orange Bertol Ferrari. There's Nicolo Schiro there in the Rosso Corsa car. You see having to jink out the pit lane exit. So awkward if you're on a flying lap and you head down towards turn 1. He came up against the Tsunami Racing car of Johannes Zelga there as well. He's just peeling off to the right-hand side, making sure he stays out of the way of everyone else as well. As we're on board with the number 11 Q1 track racing Porsche, Nicolas Salins. He was the one who got the tap from the side at this corner right here, turn number 5, yesterday, but did still go on to score a decent result. Didn't finish on the podium, but they have had podium finishes so far this season, along with Stinas Longin, also in that car, pairing that won the GT2 European Series a couple of years ago. And we see that's Mark Spikavas there. It's Dieter Schweppes who's lowered the benchmark to a 2:10.995, but still very early on in this session. And we saw just behind the blue car, which was Arturo Melga driving it yesterday, which had a very good qualifying. We'll see if they can repeat that now. But Nicolo Schiro wasting no time in getting some purple sectors in. We'll see what the benchmark will be once Schiro makes his way to the timing line. This is the car that you alluded to earlier, George, that won this race last year.
On debut.
Yes, it was a debut weekend. So it's been a full year of Rosso Corsa now in GT Cup Europe. A very welcome addition.
Happy 1 year anniversary.
Yes. Well done to the team. The Milan-based squad. As we say, normally Andrea Bellicci in that car, partnering Lorenzo Innocente, former Ferrari Challenge driver, but Nicolo Schiro goes to the top, 206.766. That's a bit more like
That's
it.
the ballpark that we've been expecting. A few other times as well coming through. Dieter Schweppes now down to 2nd, Mark Spikavas 3rd, Indrek Jaska 4th, but we still have a few others that are looking to cross the line. Alex Ryman, of course, podium sitter yesterday, currently sat 7th fastest, has a little bit of work to do, currently lapping in the 2:19s, but like I said, still early days just yet. Mark Spikavas improving in the first sector. The Rosso Corsa here, as you can see, of Nicolo Schiro just encountering a little bit of traffic as he now heads through turn 6 and 7, the 55, belonging to Ian Rodriguez coming in and looking to set the pace here around Paul Ricard. But that's the main aim where it comes to qualifying, especially here. And in these very early stages, find your track position, find some clean air, give yourself a chance in order to lay down a significant lap time.
Ian Rodriguez, the SP Porsche. We welcome SP back to the grid, this time with the 992. They were present on the grid last year with the older specification of Porsche Cup car. But Ian Rodriguez, the Guatemalan, 23-year-old, joining us for this weekend alongside Stefano Zerbi. So I think, as far as I can tell, this is his first GT race. He has done some prototype racing and
bit of ELMS and
yes.
the Le Mans Cup. A lot of it's been single seaters though. Formula Regional Americas Championship back in 2021, Formula Regional European Championship in 2020, out of a Italian F4 in 2015 to 2019. So moving across to GT Cup machinery. So now we run on board here with Alex Ryman on the podium yesterday, looking to find a little bit extra again. Has managed to find improvements in the first 2 sectors and should be able to based on his previous lap time. Of course, the last lap he set was a 2:19. We're expecting them well within the 2:06s, maybe very early 2:07s, as now we see Ryman ran the final corner at Pont. Let's see what kind of an improvement this is, though he does have a little bit of traffic in front of him as Ryman, the Estonian, makes his way up towards the line. Rodriguez goes 7th fastest. Where will we see him go? In DBC, Richter go up to 2nd as well. Dieter Schweppes down to 3rd in the pits. Duma, but it looks like Alex Ryman 12th fastest for now. Just could not quite find his feet. There was a lot of traffic in the build-up of that one. Might have been a track deletion, actually.
Still building up to it, I think, is Alex Ryman, 19-year-old, has been with the EST1 racing team since 2020, throughout BMW 325 Cup and Porsche Sprint Challenge as well, and Creventic Series and Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland as well. So certainly has a very close relationship with the Ramo Qualy-led team. Oh, now this is some damage. There's some damage. Well, is it damage or is it just one of the
loose
clips
that's
come undone there? There's sort of two quick release fasteners on the front bonnet of the Porsche.
Yeah, look at that.
There, but one has clearly not been securely fastened because that's getting a bit of air under it for the Volcano Porsche. But Nicola Shiro, meanwhile, continuing to lower the benchmark. 2 purple sectors so far in this on this lap as he heads into Le Bousset. And this is the section of track where the Porsche has been showing its strength. We've seen a lot of dives from the Porsche drivers as they get their they've made their lap time in this section of the track. Mechanical flag has been shown to Evgeny Leonov's car, so he's going to have to come in and get that hood fastened down a bit more securely. As Shira, meanwhile, into Virage Dupont, currently 7/10 up on his benchmark, which was a 2:06.766. And the Rosso Corsa car making its way over to the timing line, which is quite a long way down the straight. But he gets there, and we're into the 2:05s now, 2:05.941. As we see a moment here for Martinus Richter. A lovely little catch there at turn 2.
Yeah, good save there for Martinus Richter. Now down to third fastest, though, because Nicholas Salins pops into second. And just in behind, Nicolo Shiro sets the benchmark at a 2:05.941. That is going to be a challenge for a few drivers out there. Johannes Zelger as well, putting in personal improvements. We're also seeing improvements from the likes of Fabio Babini, the ever-experienced Porsche driver. As we now watch the 53 of Lars Zanen now make his way around after popping himself into second fastest with a 2:09.483. Getting ever closer to Shiro, but still a little bit more to go. Around 3.5 seconds off the top. So Shiro with a very good grasp on this circuit so far here for qualifying 2. Bogdan Duma with a 35.650 in the first sector, so showing good pace. 34 as well on offer for Nicholas Salins, so improvements all round as we now watch the cars make their way down the straight. And this is the obviously the damage, or not necessarily damage, but the clasp that is loose on the front of the car number 16 belonging to Evgeny Leonov, as Fabio Babini now moves up to second fastest.
Yep. That 78 car that just went second fastest is going into this race with a 3-place grid penalty after Davide Scudiccio was deemed to have caused an incident in race 1 yesterday. We're on board here with Nicolas Salins, who is currently 4th fastest, or 3rd fastest, I should say, because Fabio Babini just had that time deleted. So he's going to have to do it again. But, well, Salins now up to 3rd, of course, but looking to improve on that is the Belgian driver. Belgian pairing in the Belgian team. Yes, of course, this team very familiar with Porsches, racing them in the Belcar Championship and Carrera Cup Benelux as well.
They performed mightily well in their home race 1 back at Spa. Was finishing second. Really brought a show here. Of course, Stina's long in, put in a mammoth stint. Salins goes up to 3rd, but immediately drops down to 4th again. As once again we see more track times deleted further down, and are asking car 77 to check the transponder. That's Indrek Jaska, who's currently sat down in 19th place. So obviously not picking up the delta times coming through each sector, perhaps as well as it should be, or if anything at all, to be honest.
Yeah, just looking to see if it's on the driver tracker as well, but to be honest, there's far too many dots to be following there to try and pick that one up. So Shiro's advantage, 2.4 seconds over Alex Ryman at the moment, which is quite astonishing, really. But Shiro definitely one of the faster pro drivers that we have in this series, and he's coming to pit lane, and it's probably job done for him as Alvaro Libera puts the 81 Myrtle Ferrari on pole position and 3rd overall as well. That's a very, very nice job done there by the touring car convert. as Ivan Velasco now looks to build up to a lap. And Ivan is no stranger to being up at the front of the overall field, despite his amateur status. He has taken outright pole positions in the past. Now, where is this car at the moment? Down in 19th as it stands, which is not where we're used to seeing the reigning champion and our current championship leaders as well. And the middle sector was an improvement for the Spaniard on this lap. Let's see where he goes. 4th fastest.
More like it.
That is a bit more like it. 2.6 off of Shiro. He's really showing the difference between some of the pro drivers at the moment, but his deficit or his advantage has been reduced to 1.5 seconds because Fabio Babini has reinstated a quick time here, as Alvaro Libera, having just put it fastest of the AM drivers, just goes for a little spin in the hotel chicane, but looked fairly harmless.
Yeah, just a slight pirouette at the hotel as we now pan across to the Mertel Motorsport pit wall. Now back to the action out on track. Dieter Schweppes, who's now making his way down into the Mistral chicane, looking to improve on his previous lap. Last lap he set was a 2:10.995 and showing green in the first sector with a 34.936. So a good display here, and obviously he'll find probably his best form out on track in Sector 3, given the fact the Porsche is so strong at that segment of circuit. Through Scene Corner, by 1.6 off the top, but this could be a time, should he nail the final sector, that could put him well within the top 10. So let's see what he can do as he now cruises through this next right, coming through Bousset, which will then tee up and run in towards the Garlaban corner before then, venturing through Delatour. It's got a Mertel Motorsport Ferrari just in front, which, like we said before, the Ferrari's better in that straight line, not so good in the technical places, the technical areas out on track. So much so as is the Sector 3 and a flash of the lights, and that goes to show Dieter Schweppes concerned, obviously, that he isn't going to get the track space. Babini improving on his lap as well, and look at that, a little bit of traffic coming into the final corner. Let's see whether that's hampered Dieter Schweppes at all. I'm sure it may have. I would imagine it probably has cost him a little bit of time. 1.6, remember, to the good in the middle sector. It does move it up to P5 though, 2.5 off the top. And
fastest of the AM cars as well, having to round up Annie Frozio in the 85 Mertel Ferrari, who is a complete novice going into this season. So we'll grant her a little bit of grace as Velasco goes back up to 4th fastest. Oh, drama for SP Racing, and Rodriguez, the Guatemalan driver, who's parked up. Well, Shiro's job done.
Yeah, look at that. Overalls are already, should we say, unzipped. He's quite happy. Let a bit of air into the car.
And I can see it on the driver tracker that Rodriguez has parked up at the Mistral chicane. Ah, that was contact with the Q1 track racing car by the looks of it, of Nicholas Haylands.
By the looks of it, yeah, just almost ferried him off.
Yeah, but that doesn't look like it was enough to cause an incident to park up. And so I fear that car might, look, it's smoking out the back. So I fear that car might have already had a problem. Yeah. And then that led to
unrelated
that close moment with Saylands there.
Yeah, Federico El Rafai improving as well. Personal bests in the first 2 sectors, but certainly not necessarily as close as necessarily close to Shiro at this point, who is still marching on with the 2:05.941 and will harness the provisional pole spot unless Federico El Rafai can pull off some wonderment, though 1.2 seconds will certainly be a lot to find, despite setting a personal best here for the GDL Racing team, looking to bounce back after a difficult day yesterday. But El Rafai, prudent and a strong racer, a champion in his own right after winning the Saudi F4 in single-seater racing, now moving into Porsches this season here in the GT Cup Open. Let's see where El Rafai goes. Is it enough to topple Babini? Not quite. The checker flag's out too.
Yes, it is. That was an improvement for the Italian-born UAE driver into 3rd position, but stays there. 1.6 off. Dieter Schweppes here, looking to just cement AM pole position, but didn't improve there in the end. But his nearest rival, Alvaro Libera, is in pit lane, so that should be class pole secured for the championship-leading RICARD Porsche. And very much overall pole position secured pretty much from lap 1 for Nicolas Shiro, actually. His first lap was in the 2:06s, wasn't it? So probably that first lap would have been good enough for pole position there ahead of this man, Fabio Babini, who will take a 3-place grid penalty, don't forget. So that should put the GDL Porsche on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, and after finishing outside of the podium in yesterday's race, great chance for Shiro and Innocenti for the Rosso Corsa team, who was so good here last year. It could yet be back-to-back wins in race 2 at Paul Ricard, which would be sensational on their part as we watch Federico El Rifai out again. Not necessarily any personal improvements there as he looks to take the checkered flag very shortly. Yellow flags on show still at turn 8 with the stopped car belonging to Rodriguez still sat out on track. Rodriguez qualifying in 8th place here at this point in the Pro-Am class, just behind second-placed AM qualifier Alvaro Libera, who sits in 7th overall. But as Federico El Rifai looks to close this lap out, comes through the next left, he will indeed come into the pits and bring an end to his day.
Yeah, it looked like he was still pushing out there. There we see the street art racing Ferrari that seems to have been cured of its ailments that stopped it that prevented it from starting yesterday's race on their return to the championship. You see slightly different look for that car compared to the other Ferraris because it's having to run slightly older specification of bodywork on it, given the short number of spares in the back of the street art garage, because they had a very difficult start to the year in testing. But it's Nicolo Shiro who will start race 2 from pole position for Rosso Corsa Racing ahead of Fabio Babini, second fastest but with a 3-place grid penalty. And second in the championship, Federico El Rifai starting in 3rd ahead of Alex Ryman. Dieter Schweppes on AM pole position for RICARD. Championship leader Ivan Velasco goes from 6th, and Alvaro Libera second of the AM runners ahead of Ian Rodriguez, who we saw parked up at the end. Hopefully that car is good for the race. And then a pair of Q1 track racing cars, Lars Zanen, who was on the podium yesterday, and Nicolas Salins round out the top 10. Then further into the Amfield, it's Nathan Brauns and Mark Speakavaz. Evgeny Leonov, we saw him, the bodywork on that Porsche flapping around. He's 13th in the end, ahead of Martinez Richter, Johannes Zalga, Bogdan Dumas, Javier Ripoll Jr., Camille Perriand, Annie Frozio in the top 20, ahead of her teammate Alba Vasquez. Jahid Faisal Karim on Street Art Racing's return, 21st. Stefano Bozio, Indrik Jaska, Jim McCallion, and Philippe Vils, seemingly unable to run. We saw he didn't start the race yesterday, and it looks like he won't be taking part today either, but still a 24 strong field. And so that's all for qualifying. We will see you for race 2, 10 minutes past 3 local time later today.